See if I can get a hold of Marcus Clarke's movie, the movie of the book, For the Term of His Natural Life. The film version was 1927.
Fantastic. Climb down. You can't spot that one. Just look up on the hill behind us here. Just see the corner of a yellow or orangey coloured house. Now this is the area of the military men. The little cottage is known as Tower Cottage, and that tower there is known as the Military Old Guard Tower. So this is where our military men are based while they're here at Port Arthur. Their main role is to maintain the security and the surveillance of the site, ensuring that these prisoners do not escape. Escapes did happen though. I'll tell you about those in a moment. Just imagine you're a military man and you came here to Port Arthur. You could be here from anywhere between a few months to about a year and a half was the longest. Very impressive and prominent structure, thought to be the most impressive structure during the convict times and still today. It was built over 2 years between 1835 and 1837, able to house 1,100 worshippers at a time.
Pretty surroundings now. This is just a beautiful area with huge trees. Probably started growing about the time the convicts were here. I wonder what that mini monument is for. God, when you go through here and hear the stories, the one thing I think is all civilized nations have their shame. Certainly this has to be the British Empire's. But even more shameful were the kids 7 years and up that were brought out here and put into prisons and worked at hard labor. And for such petty little crimes. The rock work there probably like convicts, I would think. This 5-windowed building was the hospital. Irony. Typical solitary cell. Looks like it's about 6-7 feet by 8 or 9 feet. Those are the holes on the outside of the walls, probably were for ventilation. You can see the wearing of these stones a bit. There's a crown in the center and a slight wearing in the middle here. And a slight wearing of the stone. This has a wood floor. They looks like they did have wood floors, and they've all been torn up except the one used as an example. The ubiquitous slot for sliding through the gruel and the hole for looking at the criminal. Here, the epitome of cynicism. Interesting that what was done here by convicts has been done in even greater proportions by some of the third world nations like Tibet and so forth that have built phenomenal road systems all out of human labor, Chinese. Curiously, this cottage was built or used for William Smith O'Brien, who was a member of the British Parliament, but a leader of the Young Ireland movement. He was at first sentenced to death for his rebellion, but then sent here, where he continued to rebel, but ultimately gained an agreement whereby he could live here indefinitely, I guess. But an interesting, once again showing power and status, gave benefits. That's the penitentiary, which started off as some different kind of a use at first, and then was added to that last portion there with the gabled end. And off straight there behind those trees was the fence there was an area that was only for the free people here as a garden park. I don't know what this building was here. I'll have to see later. In the back there is the church. And then up behind this building here were the homes of those free people, particularly the more important ones, doctors, accountants, and so forth. There again before us and below is the solitary confinement area. You can imagine that where I'm standing now probably were walled areas that created those level spots here for other homes and buildings. And all that we're looking at here is 10% of all the buildings that used to exist here when the prison was apparently at its height. I think that was an officer's quarters there, and that was a place for sentries. I forget what the term is. The irony of this place as a tourist attraction is poignantly dramatized by the kids rolling down the grass hill. This was a commandant's home, initially 4 rooms, now 18, or eventually 18, but just reeking with the elegance of England, as much as could be achieved 8,000 miles away from it. How worn these stones are. They're brick and plastered walls. Perhaps there's a mixture here. You'll notice the design, which I see all over the place with brick. And that is a row of lengthwise brick and a row of what look like endwise brick. The library here contained 13,000 volumes, as opposed to what some records have indicated in fiction were merely Bibles. So here would be the cells. Notice what looks like a trough there down at the bottom. I wonder if it is, or if it merely held wood. Joists, because it looks like there's a ledge there that would have held the wood. Which seems better than dirt. Look at the structural elements of that. Worst prisoners on the bottom floor because they were chained. And that was very, very heavy chains and hard to move. Better prisoners up above where it was almost dormitory-like conditions. They were apparently the better convicts and allowed to kind of communicate with each other and walk around their own floor just like in a college dormitory. This was Point Pure, P-E-U-R, which stands for youth in Latin. And this was the site of the first youth prison of the British Isles, of the British Empire. Surely this has to go down as one of the great atrocities of that era.
And in 1834, this big change occurred. Point Pure was established. Young boys are now sent in here to learn trades. Only the best behaved boys learned all trades. It wasn't an expectation like education is today, it was something you had to earn. So trade training, basic education, which included reading, writing and arithmetic, and also moral and religious instruction. All of those things together, if you showed aptitude and improvement.
I wonder if that cliff right there isn't the inspiration for Marcus's reference to the two kids who jumped off into the water to drown and commit suicide rather than continue to exist in that climate.
Because Point Pure is very important to our system in the modern-day sense. It's the beginning of our juvenile system. Compulsory education for all, regardless of